The areas from the Mario and Luigi games are something that I've always talked about on this channel. Heck, I've even done an area ranking for every single Mario and Luigi game, so there really shouldn't be any more reason for me to talk about the areas, but someone suggests that I talk about the most unmemorable areas in the series, so I decided, well, first off, that's a great idea, I should do it, and here I am right now doing my top 5 most unmemorable areas in the Mario and Luigi series. Now, I do want to do a quick disclaimer before we get started. I am a Mario RPG YouTuber, so this was very hard because I'm constantly thinking about these areas and I know these games through and through, so there's definitely going to be some entries that are a bit odd to people, but I kind of had to think objectively instead of subjectively, so that was a bit odd. And also, I'm going to be taking one area from each game, just to make it a little bit more interesting. But before we actually get started in this video, make sure to leave a like on this video. Let's try to hit maybe 100 likes, and also, make sure to subscribe. I'm trying to hit 4,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and other than that, let's actually get started in this video now. Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga definitely had the hardest areas to pick from, because most of these areas are really not that forgettable. I mean, obviously there's some of the side areas that are kind of forgettable, like the airport, but I just kind of asked someone, hey, name every single area in Superstar Saga, and they forgot about Stardust Fields, so perfect, I might as well include it on this list. I mean, Stardust Fields isn't that forgettable, but it's definitely more forgettable compared to other areas in Superstar Saga. I mean, this place does have the border jump. It has Tollstar, which is an interesting enough character. You aren't just moving around the area, you are having to collect 100 Bean Bean coins, which is a little bit more interesting than, like I said, just moving around to get to the end. And there are the Star Shade Bros here, which teach you the high jump and the spin jump. I think this place looks cool. And the music is okay enough. I guess the music is kind of forgettable. But the main thing that makes this place forgettable, to me personally, is that the boss here is very basic. I mean, Tollstar literally does one attack, and it's very easy even for a first boss. And the main thing about it is that you don't actually come back here. And that's actually pretty crucial, because the only time you come back to this place is as a first area. That's the only time you go through it. I don't know why I said just come back to it, because you never do. I mean, there's really no point. I mean, I guess the only reason to come back here is the border jump, which I guess is kind of fun, but honestly, I just suggest doing the minigame that has Geno in it, so yeah, there's not really any point in coming back to Stardust Fields, and that's, again, the main reason why it is the most forgettable area in Superstar Saga, but it's definitely not as forgettable as the areas that we are going to talk about. It's just kind of a decision where if I had to choose one, I guess I have to go with Stardust Fields, so that's why it's on the list to begin with. But, I mean, it's at number 5 for a reason. It isn't really that forgettable. We got a problem when I'm talking about Partners in Time, because I've played this game so many times that none of the areas are actually forgettable to me. So I kind of had to just go with the most boring area that is in Partners in Time for me personally. I mean, I guess it could have went with areas that are objectively forgettable, but if I did that, then I would probably have to pick places like Star Hill or Toad Town. And I love both of those places, so I don't want to do that. So I just went with the most boring area, which Baby Bowser's Castle absolutely fits that. This place has no substance to me. I mean, what do you do here? I mean, you get to learn the piggyback ability, you get to learn how to battle with both the babies and the bros, and that's it. I mean, I guess there's a couple of puzzles, which that's kind of cool. Not really. There's some really basic enemies here. I mean, there's nothing really here that's full of substance, especially for someone that's played the game so many times. I mean, think about it. What is here? There's not even a boss at the end of this place, which is just so disappointing to me personally. There's nothing that has substance. I mean, there's tutorials, very basic enemies, very basic puzzles, especially compared to puzzles that are later in the game. There is no substance here, there's nothing interesting about this place, and it easily makes it the most boring area in Partners in Time. Maybe not the most forgettable, but if I wasn't a Mario RPG YouTuber, I probably would forget about it, and that's probably why it's on this list. And it definitely is higher than Stardust Fields, because I was the person that picked Baby Bowser's Castle to go on the list, and Stardust Fields isn't even that forgettable. This place, it probably could be forgettable, and that's why it is higher than Stardust Fields in my opinion. There are 8 areas in Paper Jam. How is one of these areas actually pretty dang forgettable? I mean, actually a couple of areas are pretty dang forgettable. Places like Sunbeam Plains, Doop Doop Dunes, Twinsy Tropics, and I picked Bowser's Castle for this list. Mainly because I really don't remember what you do here. I mean, what do? I mean, I know you have to rescue Toadette. I looked at that because of the footage. You learn the plane ability here, which is kind of interesting. You fight enemies. You get the Peaches back, which is kind of cool, I guess. You fight the Bowser Juniors here, which is a good boss. I really do like that boss, but that's it. I mean, do you do anything else here? It's not a bad area. I don't remember disliking it. I mean, you do have to fight Papercraft King Boo, which wasn't great. I'm just trying to think of as many things as I can from the top of my head. It's not working. It really isn't. Another reason why this area is definitely forgettable is because Neo Bowser Castle is also in Paper Jam, which is obviously going to overshadow normal Bowser's Castle, so that's not great. I seriously can't think of anything else. That's actually showing how forgettable this place is. This is not scripted. I don't know what to think of. That's really sad. And, I mean, it shows how forgettable this place is. It shows how forgettable Paper Jam places are in general. And it definitely deserves to be on this list because of that. Blimport is an area that I have legitimately forgotten about on a playthrough. My first playthrough, in fact. Now, granted, I was 8 years old, and I kind of thought that Somnom Woods was called Salmon Woods, but to be fair, I still forgot about the place. And you guys know the story by now, but I might as well say the story again for the people that don't know it. So, for the jellyfish sheets, obviously the Fly Guys take them, and then they take them to Blimport. Well, you don't know this until you do the minigame and then the shell guy tells you that they went to Blimport. Well, I had no idea what Blimport was because you only go here right when you get to Pillow Island and it is never talked about again. So I explored the entire island until I actually found Blimport and I was just so confused, like, oh, this is the area? That's what Blimport is? I didn't even know what it meant. Like, this didn't look like Blimport. It just didn't fit the name. Well, I guess, obviously, where you land, that's Blimport, but it leading up to Pillow Castle, it just didn't make sense to me, so I was very confused, and that's the story of me forgetting about Blimport. I mean, it makes sense that I forgot about this place. It's just a tutorial area that you do right when you got in onto the island. And, I mean, there's the welcome quiz, which is pretty forgettable. There's another mini-game that you get a 1-up mushroom from that's very forgettable. I mean, at the end of the day, this is a very forgettable place that you do nothing in. And since I forgot about the place, that definitely means it deserves to be very high on this list. Not number 1, though. But number 1, well, I didn't even expect to be number 1. When I first did this list, I initially didn't think that the Flab Zone would be number 1, but after I think about it, I mean, I do hate the place nowadays, but I have to think about the place before I hate about it. And that's why it's forgettable, because when I think about the place, I just don't remember what happens here. I mean, I just think of a place that I know I don't like, but I don't really realize why. But when I start thinking about the place, there we go. That's why I dislike it. I mean, if I had to think about the stuff on the top of my head, I don't like the enemies here. I think they're very annoying to fight. I don't like the boss here. I think it's very slow. I don't really care about the music that much. I think it's very unmemorable. You learn the spin jump here, which is, I guess, kind of interesting. I really don't like that this layout is basically a maze, and guess what? Because I think this place is forgettable, I never remember the path, so I can't just completely breeze through this area, which is pretty irritating to me. And if you pick the wrong path, sometimes you just have to go all the way around to get back to where you once were, which is pretty annoying. I mean, at the end of the day, I just don't remember most of the things that makes this place mad until I really think about it. And every single time I think about this place, I know I dislike it, but then I have to think, do I really dislike this place? I mean, come on, it can't be that bad. But when I start to remember this place and just start to remember all of its flaws, yeah, I start to realize why I hate this place. But since it takes so long, it has to be forgettable, and that really shows why it is the most forgettable area in the Mario and Luigi series, in my opinion. And it's why the Flap Zone is number 1. It definitely deserves to be right here on the top of the list. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you're last this long, you might as well subscribe. I really appreciate that. And also make sure to leave a like. Again, we're trying to hit 100. And also, I have a podcast called The Flat Mates. It's going to be on the screen right now and also in the description. But other than that, bye.